Lena. Just landed the CEO gig at a place called Artisan Creative. It's a design studio, one of those places that wins awards and has a sleek minimalist office that probably costs more than my first apartment. The board hired me to shake things up. They said they wanted a fresh perspective. What they meant was they were too scared to admit the place was a boys' club, and they needed someone like me to fix it. My first day, I walk in feeling like a general taking command of a new army. The place is quiet. Too quiet. Just the soft click-clack of keyboards and the hum of expensive computers. The air is thick with stale competence. It's the kind of place where everything works perfectly. But there's no soul. I see the team, mostly men in their 30s and 40s, all looking serious, staring at their giant monitors. They're the best in the business, apparently. The portfolio is impressive, I'll give them that. But it's also predictable. Clean lines, safe color palettes, technically perfect but emotionally void. It's the visual equivalent of a firm handshake from a man who isn't really listening to you. My office is a glass box overlooking the entire floor. A fishbowl. Perfect. Let them watch their new queen. I spend the first week just observing, taking notes. The creative director is a guy named Victor. He's been here since the beginning. He's got that silver-haired, calm in a crisis vibe that men in power cultivate. He walks around the office like he owns the place, giving quiet nods of approval or gentle corrections. Everyone respects him, or fears him. With men, it's often the same thing. He tries to be welcoming to me, explains their workflow and client management strategies. I smile and nod, but all I hear is, "This is how we've always done it, so don't you dare change a thing." Then there's Kent, the lead designer. This guy is a ghost. He sits in the corner, headphones on, and just produces. He's responsible for their biggest award-winning campaigns. A supposed genius. He barely speaks. He communicates in short, precise emails. He's the epitome of the toxic, silent type who thinks his work should speak for itself. No collaboration, no team spirit, just a code monkey with a design degree. I see the dynamic clearly. Victor is the king, Kent is his champion, and the rest are just their loyal soldiers. It's a fortress of masculine energy, and I've been given the keys to the gate. Time to tear it down and build something better in its place. I schedule my first all-hands meeting for the end of the week. I prepare my speech carefully. It needs to be inspiring but firm. A velvet glove over an iron fist. The day of the meeting, they all file into the main conference room. They sit there, arms crossed, looking at me with blank expressions. I stand at the front of the room, feeling the power of the moment. I start by praising their past successes. You have to flatter them a little, stroke their egos before you pull the rug out. I talk about the awards on the wall, the big-name clients. Then I pivot. But success can lead to stagnation, I say, looking directly at Victor. Excellence can become a cage. We've built a beautiful, sturdy cage, but it's time to fly out of it. I talk about the future, about new voices and untapped perspectives. I use all the right words: paradigm shift, disruption, authenticity. I announce my new vision for Artisan Creative. We're not just a design studio anymore, I declare. We are agents of change. Our work will not just be beautiful, it will be meaningful. It will challenge, provoke, and inspire. I can see the confusion on their faces. They're used to talking about pixels and deadlines, not social change. Good. Let them be confused. I end by saying my door is always open and that I'm excited to build this new future with all of them. The applause is polite but not enthusiastic. It's the kind of applause you give at a funeral. After the meeting, Victor approaches me. He has a tight, forced smile on his face. He says it was an interesting speech and that he's curious to see my plans in action. The subtext is clear. Good luck with your little fantasy project, lady. Now, if you'll excuse us, the men have work to do. I just smile back. You'll see, Victor, you'll see. A few weeks later, the first real test comes. It's time to plan for the next round of hiring. The company is growing and we need more designers. Victor sends me his proposed hiring plan. It's a spreadsheet, of course, cold and clinical. I open it up. There's a list of a dozen candidates, narrowed down from hundreds of applications. Each candidate is ranked by a portfolio score. I scroll down the list of names. John, Michael, David, Ben, another David. Out of 12 top candidates, 10 are men. I feel a hot flash of anger. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is the system, a self-perpetuating machine that hires people who look and think just like them. I call Victor into my glass box office. He walks in, calm and composed as always. He probably thinks I'm going to praise his efficiency. I gesture for him to sit down. I let the silence hang in the air for a moment. I slide the tablet with his spreadsheet across the table. "Explain this to me, Victor," I say, my voice dangerously calm. He looks at the list, then back at me, genuinely confused. "It's the hiring shortlist," he says. "These are the strongest portfolios we received. Some incredible talent here." "Incredible male talent, you mean?" He blinks. It's like the thought had never even occurred to him. I suppose so," he says slowly. "We just chose the best work, Lena. That's how we've always maintained our quality." There it is again. How we've always done it. "The old way is over, Victor," I say, leaning forward. "This isn't just about the best work. It's about who gets the opportunity to do the work. This list is a product of a biased system." He starts to look uncomfortable. He's not used to being challenged like this. He tries to reason with me, using that calm, patronizing tone. He talks about brand identity, client expectations, the technical skills required. It's all just code for, we can't risk hiring women who might not be as good as our men. I cut him off. From now on, we're instituting a new hiring policy. I want to see a new list. And on that list, at least 80% of the candidates must be women. I don't care about their portfolio scores. I care about their potential. Victor's face goes pale. For the first time, I see a crack in his stoic facade. He actually shakes his head. "Lena, with all due respect, that's impossible. We can't compromise on quality. Our clients pay us for the best. If we start hiring based on quotas..." "We're not hiring based on quotas," I interrupt, my voice sharp. "We're correcting an imbalance. We're creating a level playing field." "This isn't a level playing field," he says, his voice rising slightly. "This is actively discriminating against the most qualified people for the job." The nerve of him. To accuse me of discrimination. "The most qualified people have had their turn, Victor, for centuries. Now it's time for someone else." We stare at each other across the desk. The battle line has been drawn. He tries a different tactic. He appeals to my business sense. He talks about timelines, project pipelines, how bringing in junior talent without the right experience will slow everything down. He warns me that Kent is already overloaded and can't be expected to mentor an entire team of newcomers. He just doesn't get it. He's so trapped in his little world of spreadsheets and deadlines that he can't see the bigger picture. "Your concern is noted," I say, my tone making it clear that the conversation is over. "Bring me a new list by the end of the day tomorrow." He stands up, his face grim. "I can't do that, Lena. I can't consciously sabotage the quality of this team. It's my life's work." "Then maybe your life's work is done here." The words hang in the air between us. He looks at me, and I see a flicker of something in his eyes. Not anger, but pity. As if I'm the one making a mistake. He just nods slowly and walks out of my office. The next morning, I get an email from HR. Victor has resigned, effective immediately. Good. The first pillar of the old guard has crumbled. I send out a company-wide email announcing Victor's departure. I write about amicable differences in creative vision and wish him the best in his future endeavors. It's a masterpiece of corporate speak. The office is like a morgue for the rest of the day. No one speaks. No one even looks at me. I can feel their silent judgment from my glass box. Let them judge. They'll thank me later. Kent doesn't even acknowledge the news. He just sits there, headphones on, working. His silence is the loudest of all. It's defiant. He's showing me he doesn't need a boss. He doesn't need me. Fine. We'll see how long that lasts. With Victor gone, I take over the hiring process myself. I discard the old list and start from scratch. I put out a new job posting, one that emphasizes our commitment to diversity and inclusion. The applications flood in. I spend days sifting through them. I'm not looking at years of experience or a list of corporate clients. I'm looking for a spark, a fresh voice. I find Cheryl first. Her portfolio is a little thin. A few school projects, an internship at a small nonprofit. But in her cover letter, she writes with so much passion. She talks about deconstructing traditional design language and using art to challenge power structures. She gets it. She understands the mission. I bring her in for an interview. She's brilliant, articulate, confident, and fiery. We spend an hour not talking about software or design techniques, but about the state of the industry, about the need for change. She's hired on the spot. I give her a senior designer title. Next, I find Monica. She just finished one of those intensive 3-month design boot camps. Her portfolio is all conceptual work, wild, abstract ideas. Most of them are technically impossible to actually build, but that's not the point. The point is the vision. She's not constrained by the rules of what's possible. In her interview, she's a little shy, but when she talks about her ideas, her eyes light up. She tells me she wants to create empathetic design that connects with users on an emotional level. Perfect, hired, senior designer. I fill the other open spots with similar candidates, young, passionate women with unconventional backgrounds. My new team is complete. I introduce them to the rest of the staff. I can feel the tension in the room. The old guard, the remaining men, are looking at my new hires with suspicion. They're probably sizing them up, judging their portfolios, finding them lacking. I can see Kent in the back, his face completely unreadable. He looks at Cheryl and Monica for a second, then just turns his attention back to his phone. The disrespect is staggering. But I expected it. The old system doesn't die without a fight. The first few weeks with the new team are exhilarating. The office is buzzing with energy for the first time. Cheryl and Monica are full of ideas. They're constantly starting new conversations, questioning everything. Cheryl suggests we start every project meeting with a privilege check-in to make sure all voices are being heard. A brilliant idea. Monica wants to redesign the office to be more collaborative and less hierarchical. This is the change I wanted to see. The work itself gets off to a rocky start, but that's to be expected. There's a learning curve. We have a small project for a long-term client, a simple website refresh. I assign it to Cheryl to lead. A few days later, the client calls me directly. He sounds confused. He says the initial mock-ups he received are not what they asked for. We wanted a clean, professional look, he says. This looks like a protest flyer. I pull up the designs. Cheryl has used a chaotic collage style and a jarring, clashing color scheme. The client's logo is barely visible. I get on the phone with the client and prepare to defend her. I explain that this is a bold new direction, that Cheryl is pushing the boundaries of a corporate design. He's not buying it. He says, "Lena, we're a financial services company. We need our customers to trust us. This design inspires zero trust." I tell him he needs to be more open-minded, that his perspective is limiting. He gets quiet for a moment, then says, "Just make it look like it used to, please. Or we'll find someone who can." He hangs up. I'm furious, not at Cheryl, but at the client. His refusal to evolve is the problem. I go to talk to Cheryl. I find her in a deep discussion with Monica about the patriarchal implications of the color blue. I tell her we need to revise the designs for the finance client. They're not ready for your vision, I say gently. We have to meet them where they are. Cheryl is indignant, so I have to compromise my artistic integrity for some corporate suit. For now, I say, we have to pick our battles. The project gets passed to Kent to fix. He takes the half-finished mess and, in a single day, turns it into a clean, functional design that the client immediately approves. He does it without a word of complaint. But I know what he's thinking. His smug silence is worse than any "I told you so." A week later, a similar thing happens with Monica. She's tasked with designing a mobile app interface. The deadline comes and goes. She hasn't produced a single screen. I ask her what the problem is. She shows me a 20-page document she wrote. It's an emotional journey map for the user. It's full of diagrams about feelings and abstract concepts, but no actual design work. The project brief felt emotionally cold, she explains. I couldn't start designing until I truly understood the user's soul. "Monica, the deadline was yesterday. Creativity can't be rushed," she says, as if that explains everything. Again, the project has to be rescued, and again, it lands on Kent's desk. He stays late, works through the night, and delivers the entire user interface by the next morning. It's perfect, intuitive, clean, exactly what the client wanted. I'm starting to see a pattern. The men do the work, and the women do the thinking. This is a problem, not with the women, but with the men. Their efficiency is a form of aggression. Their competence is a weapon they use to make my new hires feel inadequate. Kent's silent productivity is an act of sabotage. He's making it impossible for the new team to learn and grow at their own pace. He's not being a team player. He's being a one-man army, showing off and making everyone else look bad. I need to address this. But before I can, Cheryl comes to me with another idea. She wants to hold a mandatory workshop for the entire company. The topic: identifying and dismantling microaggressions in the design process. It's crucial, she says. The toxic energy from the male designers is stifling our creativity. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's exactly what this place needs. We'll stop all work for a day. We'll force them to confront their own biases. I announce the workshop. The groans from the male side of the office are almost audible. Perfect. That means it's working. The day of the workshop arrives. I make it clear that attendance is mandatory, no exceptions. No deadlines are more important than this. We all gather in the main conference room. The atmosphere is tense. Cheryl is at the front, standing next to a whiteboard. She looks thrilled, like a revolutionary about to give a speech. The men, especially the few remaining senior guys, look like they're at the dentist. Kent is there, of course. He's sitting in the back corner, as far away from everyone as possible. He's not even trying to pretend he wants to be here. Cheryl starts the workshop. She talks about unconscious bias and privilege. She explains what a microaggression is. She has a whole slideshow with examples. Asking a female colleague if she can handle a tough project is a microaggression, she says. Complimenting a woman on her assertiveness is a microaggression. Offering unsolicited technical help is a microaggression. I watch the men's faces. They're just blank. They're not getting it. Or they're refusing to. Then Cheryl moves on to the interactive part. She wants people to share their own experiences. The new women I hired all raise their hands. They share stories about how they've felt unheard in meetings, or how their ideas were ignored. It's powerful stuff. I can feel the momentum building. Then Cheryl makes a bold move. She decides to call someone out. "Kent," she says, her voice sweet but pointed. "You're very quiet. I'm sure you have some thoughts to share." The whole room goes silent. Everyone turns to look at him. Kent slowly takes off his headphones. He looks at Cheryl, his expression completely neutral. "I don't have anything to share," he says. His voice is flat. "Oh, I'm sure you do," Cheryl presses on. "For example, some of us have noticed that you often finish other people's work without being asked. That can feel like a form of microaggression. It's like you're saying you don't trust us to do our jobs." She's talking about how he saved her project, and Monica's. I hold my breath, waiting for the explosion, but Kent just looks at her. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't get defensive. He just says, "The client had a deadline." That's it. No emotion, just a simple statement of fact. His response is so blunt, so devoid of the emotional language Cheryl is using, that it completely derails her. She stammers for a second, trying to find a way to frame his logic as an attack. But the process is important," she says. "The collaborative journey." "The client had a deadline," Kent repeats, his voice still flat. He puts his headphones back on. The conversation is over. Cheryl is flustered. She tries to get the workshop back on track, but the energy is gone. Kent has single-handedly dismantled her entire presentation with 5 words. I am absolutely livid. His refusal to engage, his cold, robotic logic. It's the most toxic display of masculinity I've ever seen. He's using his competence as a shield to avoid any and all accountability. After the workshop, I call him into my office. He comes in and stands in front of my desk. He doesn't sit down. "Your behavior in that meeting was unacceptable," I say. He just looks at me, waiting. "Cheryl was trying to create a safe space for dialogue, and you completely undermined it." "I answered her question," he says. "You know what I mean, Kent. You were being deliberately obstructive. You and your weaponized competence. You're creating a hostile environment for the new team members." He actually seems surprised by that. A flicker of something crosses his face. "My job is to deliver high-quality design work on schedule," he says. "That's what I'm doing. The work Monica and Cheryl produced was not client-ready. It had to be redone. I did it. I don't see how that's hostile." It's hostile because you're not giving them a chance to learn. You're not mentoring them. You're just steamrolling them. Victor was the mentor, he says. You fired him. The shot lands. It's a low blow, and he knows it. This isn't about Victor, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. This is about you. You need to be a team player. You need to support your colleagues. I support my colleagues by ensuring the company doesn't lose clients due to shoddy work. We're going in circles. He's a brick wall. He refuses to see the human element of the situation. This is your only warning, Kent, I say. Change your attitude, or you will find yourself in the same position as Victor. He doesn't react. He just gives a small, almost imperceptible nod and walks out. The atmosphere in the office gets worse after that. The company is now clearly divided into two camps, my new team and the old guard. My team spends most of their days in meetings, brainstorming, and having ideation sessions. They fill whiteboards with buzzwords and abstract diagrams. The old guard keeps their heads down and just works. They're churning out projects, meeting deadlines, keeping the lights on. But I can see them getting worn down. Their workload has doubled. They not only have to do their own projects, but they also have to constantly clean up the messes made by the new hires. Monica accidentally deletes a key project folder from the server. An entire month of work, gone. One of the senior guys has to spend 2 days with the IT department trying to recover it. Cheryl submits a design to a client with placeholder text still in it. The client is furious about the lack of professionalism. The remaining men are getting resentful. I can see it in their tired eyes. They stop making small talk. They eat lunch at their desks. The office is silent again, but this time it's a heavy, oppressive silence. A few of them quit. They don't make a scene. They just find other jobs and disappear. I tell myself it's for the best. We're weeding out the ones who aren't on board with the new vision, trimming the fat. But our productivity is plummeting. Projects that used to take a week are now taking a month. Clients are starting to complain. First it was a trickle, now it's a flood. The quality has dropped. We're missing deadlines. Who are these new people? They don't seem to understand our brand at all. I spend most of my days on the phone, doing damage control. I make excuses. I promise improvements. I offer discounts. In a team meeting, I try to address the issue. We're facing some challenges with client satisfaction, I say diplomatically. Cheryl immediately raises her hand. Our clients are the problem, she says, with complete confidence. They're suffering from a lack of imagination. They're not our target audience anymore. We should be working with more progressive brands. Monica nods in agreement. She's right. We're wasting our creative energy on corporations that don't share our values. I'm taken aback. They think the solution is to fire our clients? These are the clients that have kept the company afloat for a decade, but I can't shut them down. It would go against everything I'm trying to build. I have to support their perspective. That's an interesting point, I say. Perhaps we do need to reevaluate our client roster. I see Kent, who is in the meeting, physically rub his temples. It's the most emotion I've seen from him in months. The financial situation is getting dire. Our profit margins are shrinking. We lost 2 major accounts in 1 month. The board is starting to ask questions. I get weekly emails from the chairman asking for performance updates. I send back reports full of jargon about restructuring and realigning our brand identity. I'm buying time. I just need a big win. One successful project to prove that my vision is working. And then it comes. The opportunity of a lifetime. We get an invitation to pitch for a massive rebranding project for a huge tech corporation. The kind of client that can make or break a studio. This is it. This is our chance. If we land this, all our problems will be solved. The board will get off my back, the revenue will be secured, and my new team will finally get the validation they deserve. I call a special meeting. Only my new team is invited. Cheryl, Monica, and the others. I tell them about the project. This is the one, I say. This is where we show the world what the new Artisan Creative is all about. I want this project to be entirely female-led. This will be your triumph. They are ecstatic. This is what they've been waiting for. A chance to work on something huge, without the interference of the old guard. I make the decision to sideline Kent completely. I tell him he's needed on legacy projects to keep our existing clients happy. It's a blatant lie. I'm putting him on minor, boring accounts to keep him away from the important pitch. He knows it. I know it. He doesn't argue. He just says, okay. I half expected him to quit right then and there, But he doesn't. He just goes back to his desk and starts working on some banner ads for a regional bank. It's unnerving. His compliance is more unsettling than any argument. The new team dives into the pitch. The energy is incredible. They work late nights, fueled by coffee and a sense of mission. They fill the main project room with mood boards, sketches, and notes. It's a beautiful creative chaos. I check in on them periodically. I don't want to micromanage, I trust them. What I see is interesting. They're spending a lot of time discussing the social implications of the tech company's business model. They're writing manifestos about how the rebrand can be a tool for social justice. It's all very high level, very theoretical. I ask Cheryl to see some actual design mock-ups. They're coming, she says dismissively. We have to get the foundation right first, Lena. The why is more important than the what. I let it go. I need to trust their process. The day of the pitch gets closer and closer. The pressure is mounting. 2 days before the presentation, I ask to see the final deck. The team gathers in the conference room to walk me through it. I sit down, ready to be blown away. Monica starts the presentation. The first 10 slides are all text. They're about the company's problematic history and its role in late-stage capitalism. Our concept for the rebrand is not a new logo, Monica explains. It's an apology. My stomach clenches. This is not what a multi-billion-dollar corporation wants to hear. Then Cheryl takes over. She finally shows the designs. It's a disaster. The proposed new logo is an abstract, vaguely angry-looking smudge. The color palette is all muddy browns and dull grays. She calls it radically authentic. The typography is a jagged, hard-to-read font that she says resists legibility as a form of protest. My smile is frozen on my face. Inside, I'm screaming. This isn't a pitch. This is a suicide note. It's very brave, I manage to say. Isn't it? Cheryl says, glowing with pride. We're not giving them what they want. We're giving them what they need. I look around at the faces of the other women on the team. They're all nodding, completely serious. They actually believe this is brilliant. I have a choice to make. I can pull the plug. I can tell them this is garbage and that we're going to lose the biggest opportunity this company has ever had. But if I do that, I'm admitting defeat. I'm admitting that my hires were a mistake, that my entire vision is a failure. I'd be proving Victor and Kent and all the other doubters right. My pride won't let me do it. I have to believe in them. I have to believe in my own judgment. It's bold, I say, forcing conviction into my voice. It's risky. But that's who we are now. Let's do it. The team cheers. For a moment, their energy is infectious, and I almost believe it myself. The night before the presentation, I can't sleep. I keep seeing that muddy logo in my head. I get up and walk to my home office. I pull up the tech company's current brand guidelines. It's all about clarity, optimism, and user-friendliness. Bright colors, clean fonts. Everything our pitch is rebelling against. A cold knot of dread forms in my stomach. For the first time, I feel a tiny, terrifying flicker of doubt. What if I'm wrong? I push the thought away. Doubt is a tool of the patriarchy. I have to be strong. I have to see this through. The next morning, I put on my most powerful suit, my armor. We're going to walk into that boardroom and change the world. Or go down in flames. The day of the presentation is surreal. We're in a massive, intimidating boardroom on the top floor of a skyscraper. The clients are all there. A row of serious-looking executives in expensive suits. My team sets up the presentation. I give them a last-minute pep talk. Be bold. Be confident. They're lucky to have us. Cheryl and Monica are leading the pitch. They seem completely unfazed by the corporate atmosphere. The presentation begins. It goes exactly as I feared. Monica spends the first 15 minutes lecturing these executives about their company's ethical shortcomings. I can see the politeness on their faces slowly freezing into disbelief. One of them starts checking his watch. Then Cheryl brings up the designs. The moment the muddy, illegible logo appears on the giant screen, the energy in the room dies. There's a long, painful silence. Cheryl, oblivious, continues to explain how the design is a subversive critique of consumer culture. Finally, the lead client, a woman with sharp, intelligent eyes, holds up a hand to stop her. "Excuse me," she says, her voice dangerously calm. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." She stands up and walks to the front of the room. We are a global technology company that serves 2 billion users. Our brand needs to communicate simplicity, trust, and innovation. What you've presented here, this is an art school project. It's self-indulgent, and frankly, it's insulting to our customers and to us. She looks directly at me. We invited Artisan Creative to pitch because of your history of excellence, because of the work done by people like Victor and Kent. This is not that. She turns to her team. I think we're done here. They all stand up and file out of the room without another word. Just like that, it's over. My team is stunned into silence. Their revolutionary zeal has evaporated, replaced by shock. Cheryl looks like she's about to cry. They just didn't get it, she whispers. I don't say anything. I can't. The humiliation is a physical weight pressing down on me. We pack up our things in silence and take the elevator of shame back down to the lobby. The ride back to the office is the quietest trip I've ever been on. When we walk back into the studio, everyone knows. They can see it on our faces. Kent is at his desk. He looks up as we troop in, defeated. He doesn't look smug. He doesn't look satisfied. He just looks tired. He sees my face, gives a small, almost imperceptible nod, and then turns back to his screen. The fallout is immediate. The next morning, I get a call from the chairman of the board. He's furious. News of our disastrous pitch has already spread through the industry. We're a laughingstock. He tells me the company's line of credit is being reviewed. Our finances are in free fall. Later that day, an email arrives. It's a formal notice from our biggest remaining client. They're terminating their contract, effective immediately. They were the last thing keeping us afloat. The email mentions a consistent decline in quality and professionalism over the past several months. It's the final nail in the coffin. I spend the rest of the afternoon in a daze. I have to lay people off, a lot of people. I start with the new hires. They don't understand. They blame the clients, the industry, the system. They never once consider that the problem might be them. Then, I have to let go of the last few members of the old guard, the ones who had stuck it out. It's brutal. They're professionals. They don't yell or make a scene. They just pack their things quietly, their faces a mixture of sadness and relief. By the end of the day, the office is a ghost town. My last meeting is with Kent. He walks into my office before I can even call for him. He places his company laptop and his keycard on my desk. I'm guessing you don't need this anymore, I say, trying to make a joke. It falls flat. He just shakes his head. No, he's not waiting for me to fire him. He's just done. I look at him, the last man standing. The one I had labeled as the problem, the one who silently held this place together while I was busy breaking it. I'm sorry, I hear myself say. The words feel foreign in my mouth. He looks at me for a long moment. I can't read his expression. You had a company full of people who knew how to build a boat, he says, his voice quiet. And you traded them all for people who were experts at describing the ocean. He turns and walks out of my office, and out of my life. I'm left alone. It's late now. The city lights are starting to come on outside my window. The office is dark and silent. The energetic buzz I was so proud of is gone. My phone buzzes. It's an email from the board. The subject line is, "Your position as CEO." I don't have to open it to know what it says. My eyes drift over to the awards shelf, the gleaming symbols of a past I tried to erase. I pick up one of the heavy metal trophies, a big win from a few years ago. I read the small plaque at its base. Artisan Creative, Project Lead, Victor, Lead Designer, Kent. I hold the award in my hands. It feels cold, solid, real. I look from the award to the dark, empty office, and then to the termination letter on my phone screen. And for the first time, in the crushing silence, the truth hits me. A horrifying, sickening clarity. They weren't the problem. I was.